Now I'd like to introduce our next presenter. She's the president and co-founder of Samyak Drishti Foundation, which is present in 11 cities in India, and it helps the underprivileged get more in contact with environment, education, and healthcare, and help them learn skills for the future. And she likes to share her knowledge across all tech communities all over the world. Please welcome Drishti Jain. When life gives you an orange, make data speak volumes. It's all yours, Drishti.
Thank you, John, for the wonderful introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm Drishti Jain, and I'm really excited to be a part of CraftConf. Even though this is in a virtual setting, quite an interesting way of making a conference go hybrid and reach masses. So today's talk is going to be very interesting and something that all of you can use in your day-to-day life, in whether it be your work or be it your personal projects or just something on the side that you'd like to explore. So I'm going to introduce an interesting tool called Orange and how data visualization is critical to what we do on a day-to-day basis, even if we are not dealing with big data all the time. So a little about myself. As John mentioned as well, I'm a computer engineer, I'm a tech geek, I'm a social entrepreneur. I like to help the underprivileged, and that is where comes my social entrepreneurial skills. I'm an international tech speaker, and I like to share my knowledge, and I tend to keep it a two-way communication. You can always find me on Twitter and follow me on the various journeys that I go on. My Twitter handle is right there at the bottom of the screen. And I'm also a mentor to a number of college going students and helping them transition into a career in tech. Now, whenever we think about data and when we think about big data, so big data, if you look at your everyday activities that you as an individual do on a day-to-day basis, be it right from your smartwatch to you browsing everything on your mobile phone, on your laptop. So there are very, very different types of data that you as an individual are generating. Be it quasi-structured data, relational data, the data could be unstructured, it could be structured. So there are a lot of challenges that come when we are dealing with such huge amount of data. The very first challenge is of volume. Imagine each and every person who has access to internet is browsing videos online, is searching the web for various answers in their day-to-day lives or for their professional lives. And also they're interacting with their family, friends, colleagues through various social media apps. There's so much of data that gets generated. So one challenge that comes when handling big data is that of handling the huge volume. The second is the velocity at which the data is generated. Imagine yourself on a social media app, you're scrolling through the app and trying to get to know what is happening in the world. So you're pausing while scrolling on your app. So there are some posts which will be visible for a longer time on your mobile phone, whereas some posts would be visible for a shorter time. So all of this is data that gets captured, and it is happening at a very high pace. Also, there's a lot of variety of data. Now, for an individual, you could be tracking the number of steps you're taking through your smartwatch. You could also be doing that through apps on your mobile phone. You as an individual would have data across various institutions as well, be it banking institutions, insurance institutions. There could be data about your personal likes and dislikes through various quizzes and polls that you entered online. So there are different forms of data. And these data need not have all the same properties. So there's a lot of variety of data that comes into place as well. So these are the three major challenges that we have to deal with when we are handling big data. And a great way of getting to know how these challenges can be covered and how we can overcome these challenges, one great way is data visualization. You might feel that all of the data that you have is of varied types, But if there is a mechanism in which you can combine the data and try to make a sense of it, data visualization gives you that pictorial form in which you can actually go ahead and visually see the way the data is presented, and if it actually can generate some insights which otherwise might not have been possible. Data visualization gives us a way of visual communication. Now, why is visual communication important? I'll show you an example as well. If you have thousands of lines of data presented to you as a table, and whereas the same data is presented in the form of histograms, pie charts, or any other form of data, be it scatter plots, any kind of plot, you the data which is visualized serves as an instinct. It gives you an instinct about what is the meaning or what is the data trying to tell you. Whereas in the form of a traditional table, it would actually be you if you have an expert if you are an expert in the domain, only then would you be able to make sense of it. Also, data visualization gives us the ability to understand different sources and make. Hello, I think, am I good? Okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, I think this is where we left off. Sure. So now, why is it that data visualization is so important and is a great way of showing what you're trying to interpret from data? The first thing is, if you have colors in your visualization, it just brings out more essence of the information you're trying to portray. You using colors, you'll be able to highlight points which are more important and also distinguish between two different varied values as well. If you are if you want to say that some kind of data is showing a positive trend, you could go with shades of green. And if you want to show something that has been a decline, for example, there has been loss in your business, that could be shown with different shades of red. So colors play a very important role when we are dealing with data visualization. The second one is, you are able to discover trends. These trends could be very different. For example, you could be thinking that you are calculating data for how much safety is there on the road for a pedestrian who's walking, who's trying to cross the road. But along with that, maybe your data could tell you something more about it. It could tell you about the times when there are more people crossing the road, which you were just concerned about the safety. But an important aspect that comes is about the velocity at which that data is generated, and you are able to see different parts of the day wherein you have to take care of road safety more importantly, or let the authorities know that these are the peak times when pedestrians are trying to cross the road. So that could be incorporated in a number of ways by increasing the time of each of the traffic light signals that is there, or incorporating volunteers who could facilitate traffic movement. Data visualization also helps you to comprehend information quickly. When you have data and it is visually in front of you, you can easily segregate two different aspects of data, or also you can directly visually see how the data looks. And if it is trying to fall in the category that you were anticipating through your theoretical calculation, or is it actually going in a different path than what you had anticipated? So all of this can be done very, very easily and quickly using data visualization. And an interesting factor that we tend to forget, we tend to think that data visualization would just serve as a pictorial form, but actually it could help you discover trends in data, which will be helpful for you when you're trying to make some predictions about the way things would be. So data visualization is a very powerful tool which each of us should use in our work. And it is also about finding the right balance. We want the model that we are building to be equally engineering centric or technology centric, as well as have the human centricness to it as well. Just constructing some model or some result without knowing how actually it would impact on the ground. For example, if there's a construction building company, they're analyzing data about where they should have their next 14 floors of building. So an important factor would be understanding the human part of it. Each location, each geographical location has different ways in which people like to interact. And that could be affected by a number of ways: the weather of the place, the seasons of the place, or the economic situation of the place could impact the way what we are trying to do. So it is all about finding the right balance. And let me show you that if you're trying to interpret data about cybersecurity breaches across the US, and this is the data. This is the data that I present to you. It consists of all the information that you require. It's in a good tabular format. You are able to see the type of breach. It could be theft, loss, unauthorized access, or hacking, um, based on different modes. Like it could be related to an email fraud, a cybersecurity risk related to portable devices and everything. But are you able to make a complete sense out of it? Wasn't it difficult to read and difficult to interpret? And whereas if I just visualize this in the form of a chart of the number of individuals affected based on the US state, it is so easy to understand based on the path, the thickness of each of the blocks that are there. So in this way, you're easily able to see that how many individuals were affected in which state. So it is so easy to answer the question, for example, that which state has the maximum number of cybersecurity breaches. This is the power of data visualization. And you might be wondering what exactly makes a good visualization. There are four key things that make a normal data visualization to be impactful and successful. The very first one is data. You cannot have a lot of sparse data. Sparse data is data which has a lot of missing values. So it is important to clean up the data and fill the missing values with appropriate logic based on the data. It could be replacing numeric values with the mean, median, or mode, depending upon the kind of application you have. It should be able to tell the concept or the logic of what that data is trying to tell you. That is the second key important thing. The third and the most important thing is there should be a goal about why you are visualizing data. Just randomly picking up 2 3 features and putting them on a plot would not take you anywhere. You should have a defined goal. Are you trying to predict where the company is headed if you change a few factors in the way the company functions? Or are you trying to understand the past behavior and past spends of a company? So the goal should be correct. It could be on the same data, but your goals can be different, which could lead to different visualizations. And the visual form should be appropriate in conveying that goal. So having a good visualization makes knowledge very beautiful. Out of the many objectives of data visualization that are there, an important one is that using data visualization, you are able to highlight or illustrate a point more or hide data that is irrelevant to the particular goal that you're trying to achieve. And you're able to view data in context. These two things help you achieve the goal very, very fast. And your data visualization then has a very, very good defined role. Across the big data ecosystem that we have been seeing, an important point to note is that the four main components that form the big data ecosystem are the device that we are interacting it with. This also includes like your card transactions that can tell you about the spend history of a user. There could be video surveillances in banks and closed spaces. Also, there are a lot of data collectors, the government, retail stores that you're going to, what is your shopping behavior? Do you like to purchase more clothes, or do you generally go out to buy grocery? So that creates a data point upon you as a person. Then there are data aggregators like various websites. These websites might be saving information about what are you searching, what kind of things are you more interested in. And also there a lot of data aggregators are also able to distinguish, even if multiple users are using the same device, the way people interact and create data can be distinguished as well. And the fourth are the data users and buyers. That could be medias, banks, delivery services to form targeted ads. That is the simplest example of what is the final application and the business incentive out of collecting so much data and processing it. An important point to note whenever you're creating data visualizations is to overcome unconscious bias. There, all of us might have some or the other bias based on different factors. And we need to ensure that we are able to eliminate that bias whenever we are constructing something. So overcoming that bias is a good thing. Our data should not reflect the bias that we're creating. For example, if we are studying plant species and we just take plants which grow in tropical areas, so our data would be very biased. It would not include each of the type of plants which could grow, say, on mountains or on plain soils, or on plateaus or near the lakes. We are just considering tropical along the sea. So the bias in your data should not be there. You should take a conscious effort to avoid the unconscious bias that we have. And just thinking about this while doing your data collection as well as while building the model, once you give it a thought, you'll surely be able to concentrate on removing that. And yes, it is time to tackle the unconscious bias consciously. Now coming to Orange. Orange is an open source machine learning and data visualization tool. The official website is orange.biolab.si. You can visit this and try out Orange for free on your machines. It can also be used as a Python library, as well as you can download it as an application on a laptop and directly use the drag and drop feature so that you can interact, play with different widgets and see how machine learning actually takes place. And Orange is all about visualizations. It helps you create different visualizations. It helps you apply clustering techniques. It helps you apply different machine learning techniques that you want to do in order to achieve results. This is a part of how a workflow looks like in Orange. It is a component-based data mining tool. So as you can see, there's a file. This file would actually have all the data that you want to input. You can have a look at that file in the form of a data table. You can also apply logistic regression. You can then plot the output as a confusion matrix and finally have a scatter plot displaying what the data is trying to convey. It has interactive data exploration. So in this example, if you see, we have a scatter plot. And in our data table, we have selected entries from 234 to 258. While selecting those entries, you can see yellow highlighted points at the top. And that is what makes it very interactive. If you want to see where exactly your data points of the table are displayed on the graph, then this is a great tool. You can instantly get to know where do these points actually lie. And this could be even if you have, for example, you're plotting it in the way of a classification tree. So each of your data points can be color coded. You can change the colors based on your preferences and see where exactly each of them lie. So it is very visual and makes you interpret results out of data very, very easily. It has a clever workflow design interface, which makes what it means is that it is very beginner friendly. For example, you have dropped the component file. Then if you drag and drop a point and you are calculating distances, it could be Euclidean distance, uh, any kind of distance, Manhattan distance, like depending upon the model that you have. So whenever you're to get to know the compatibility between two components, whenever you draw a line through that component, you'll be able to see the components which are compatible with it. Like you can see here, you'll be able to see in the drop down that, okay, you can use a particular form with distances only. You cannot directly have a plot with it. So all of that is makes it very easy to use and very beginner friendly. Also, it includes many visualizations, right from projection plots like MDS to Silhouette plot to heat maps to box plots. Anything and everything that mainly you can imagine is right there. And if something's not there, it is an open source project. Do go ahead and contribute. And many a times we get stuck up due to a number of choices, especially when data has a lot of features. And choosing that optimal feature pair to visualize data becomes a challenge. Worry not, that is where the intelligent visualization of Orange comes to the rescue. Intelligent visualizations will help you with scoring. For example, if you have 15 features in your data and you want to know which two feature pairs would give you the right score so that you will be able to segregate your data into two classes. Orange will do that as rank projections directly for you. This can be done through score plots if you're using scatter plot. And it will find the best projection with the best class separation. So you do not have to go ahead and do the manual calculation yourself. It can be done right here in Orange itself. And it is great for reporting as well. The outputs that you use can directly be used in your reports. So let me just quickly take you through how you would work with Orange. This is what the Orange canvas looks like. I've dropped in a file component which has the data. And now I'm trying to apply k-means to it. So I pulled my data from the file into the k-means clustering, and then I'm plotting it into 3 different ways because I want to see which one fits my data better. So this is very easy in Orange. When you're just applying multiple positions to it, then you can directly do it very easily. I'm trying scatter plot, box plot, as well as MDS, and then I'm trying to save the file. So for example, in MDS, um, for k-means clustering, we need to know the value of k, right? What should the optimal value of k be? In that case, once I double click the k-means component, the small window opens up, wherein for the number of clusters, I can either have it fixed if I have already manually calculated it, or in the second section, that is from. So if I want to know, if I want to have my k value between say 2 and 8, and I want Orange to calculate and tell me what is the optimal k value, I can do that. Because otherwise I'm individually trying out the value k equal to 2, then k equal to 3, and I don't know which one fits my data much better. So in that case, I chose the from 2 to 8 section, and it helped me calculate the Silhouette scores for each of the values 2 to 8. And as you can see, for k equal to 3, the Silhouette score is 0.723. So this means that this is the optimal value in which our data could be partitioned into 3 clusters. So this makes it very easy. You do not have to actually go ahead. This gets rid of any manual errors that you might create, and it just helps you in finding the optimal values without even doing a lot of manual work. And making it more interactive, you can try this out with different things. And it is very quick. So even if you want to manually try from 2 to 8, you can go ahead and do that, and then verify your answer through the Silhouette scores. It works either way. Orange, so Orange was created here on Earth, and it has been used in space as well. The Hayabusa 2 asteroid sample return mission aims to analyze the composition of the asteroid, and that is where a part to analyze the data. has been done in Orange itself. This is a small snippet of the way the composition of the asteroid is being trying to be done. If you can see at a glance, it looks complex, but if you take a second look into it, you'll see that initially we are starting with the data table, and through that data table, we are finding out the pre-processed spectrum. We are seeing the k-means application of it, and then looking at how different components could be present. And the file symbols that you see everywhere, those are the save options, and the place where you see the Python logo. So you can also insert your own Python script into it. If you have your own algorithm and logic, you can always integrate it with Orange and go ahead and apply your own algorithm along with the inbuilt Orange feature algorithms and make the best of both the worlds. And if you see, you can also see a color component. So you can add in colors separated based on the way you want. So that is one thing that I'd like to say. So Orange is being used in space. It was created right here on Earth. So why don't we use it in our day lives and get started with different things, and also apply it for our advanced machine learning problems, and view data more visually and have that visual communication through data visualization. These are the references and attributes for my presentation. The very first one is orange.biolab.si. So you can always hop on there, the latest versions or any updates, or to integrate it with Python in your Python script. If you do not want to use the IDE, you can even do it right in your Python script by importing it. So you can go ahead and do that. And the second is the book that gives a great understanding about data science and big data analytics. So if you're keen about reading through books as well, so that is a great resource. And yes, I'd like to say that to go ahead and make data speak volumes, create the most out of data. And I hope Orange will be there all along in your way to help you, guide you, and take you through the wonderful world of data visualization. Thank you so much. That was me, Drishti Jain, about Orange and data visualizations. These are my social links. You can follow me there. And yeah.
Thank you, Drishti. That was a very interesting presentation. At least for me, I didn't know. Well, I knew data was complex, and I knew gathering data. I have my own opinions of gathering data, especially personal data, but the applications that you showed and how you can break it down was extremely interesting. So thank you very much for your speech.
Thank you.
Audience, if you have any questions for Drishti, please use Slido and ask your questions now. We have plenty of time, so fill her with questions. I'm sure she'd be happy to answer them for you. We'll give it a few seconds more to see if people are gonna write any questions. In the meantime, this is just a question from me. Do you find that data can really be abused as well as good?
Yeah, so I think there's a very thin line in segregating and avoiding data abuse, because everybody around us, all of the big tech companies, all of the applications that we use, be it right in our smartphones, smart TVs, our watches, mobile phones, everybody is collecting data. And we did consent to it when we installed that data, when we installed that application. But I think it is there's a very fine line between them using it to help us for the functionality that we signed up for, and then them abusing data for their own profitable motives only without us knowing about it. I think that is where it becomes very dicey. That should not be there. Data of an individual is only the right of that individual. They're sharing it just for to get the features that the other person has built through the application, but we also have an like a trust over that application that they would not misuse our data. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, this trust factor, I have my doubts about that with a lot of companies. Um, do you think perhaps these companies should put a disclaimer, a big disclaimer on that they're collecting data on us, and that we should have an option to opt out of sharing our data?
Yeah, surely we as individuals and users of the application should have an option to opt out of data sharing or any of those settings. I think many a times general, like the masses, the general population does not know where these settings are located inside their application. It becomes difficult for them to actually navigate, go inside and find that option. So maybe a little more visibility about where that is located will help everybody, because these companies do give us an option, but that is so much further down inside the application that general
Mhm.
population doesn't isn't even aware that it is possible to stop data sharing or share your data only for the app users and not for advertising or to share it with third parties. So that is something, if there's more visibility about where it is located to the mass populations, I think we'll be able to overcome this issue.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good luck with getting governments. I think Europe has started on this road with their data protection, the GDPR or GRD. I don't know.
Mhm.
Anyway, I think they've started on this road, but I still think we have a long ways to go, and I still find it amazing sometimes that it's almost like when I thought about buying a new car and I knew what I wanted, Facebook started showing me advertisements for that car right away. So I found that amazing and scary at the same time.
Yes, it is useful, but it is scary, and it tends to bring a person to question: are they listening to everything that we are doing?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But on the other hand, I think collecting data in certain areas is very valuable. Scientific research, medical advancements, all these, I think it's very useful. It's just the population needs to be aware. That's my opinion.
Hmm.
And the tool that you introduced, this orange, it seems like a mighty powerful tool to me.
Yes, it is indeed powerful, and um, I think the more people use it, they'll be able to get to know that there's so much good you can extract out of data and use it in your day-to-day activities, in growing your businesses, and understanding the data that you have more clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Oh, wow. Okay. Last call for any questions for Drishti. She gave a wonderful presentation. I'm sure it gave a lot of people a lot of things to think about. Go ahead and ask your questions now.
Yeah, please feel free to ask any questions. Also, I'll be there on Hopin. So if you have any questions later on, you can post it there and I'll be happy to answer those there as well.
Okay. Okay. Super. Well, Drishti, I don't see any questions coming in. So
Yeah.
what I would like to say is thank you very much for your presentation. It was truly enjoyable. And have a nice day there in, oh, you
Yeah.
told me the name and I already forgot the name of the town.
Yeah. I'm in Pune, India.
Pune, India. Yes, Pune, India. Thank you very much and enjoy your day.
Yeah. Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody, for coming to my presentation and being a part of CraftCon. Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.